Han Zuetian frowned. His expression changed slightly as he muttered to himself. The old man smiled and said, "That's right, it's the earth god appointed by the heavenly race. It's also your blessing that I came to the 100-peak immortal river." Blessing? Han Zuetian was immediately furious and scolded, "Screw off. Are you even worthy?" His language was inherited from Hanju. He spoke like him and cursed similarly. The reason why he was moved just now was that he had never heard of the heavenly race. Most of the living beings did not know about the high and mighty heavenly race, and the disciples of the hidden sect who knew about it had a huge difference in seniority with Han Zuetian. They couldn't be bothered to acknowledge him, let alone talk about the current immortal world. The earth god was stunned. He didn't expect Han Zuetian to suddenly fall out with him. Immediately after, his old face turned red. He pointed at him and said with a trembling voice, "You! How impudent!" Han Zuetian cursed. "Get lost! Are you qualified to be our hidden sect's blessing? Do you believe that I'll call for help?" The earth god trembled in anger, but he was really afraid that Han Zuetian would call for help. The hidden sect was famous for its viciousness. If not for the orders of the heavenly race, he wouldn't dare to come. He stomped his feet and tunneled underground, disappearing. Han Zuetian snorted disdainfully. Han Zuetian didn't spread the news of the earth god in the hidden sect. The disciples did not know about it. Hanju was still cultivating in seclusion. Ever since he reached the perfected pseudo-sage realm, Hanju had been excited about cultivation. He wanted to reach the sage realm as soon as possible. Time passed. Everything changed. When he looked back, it was as if everything happened in an instant. 1200 years passed. Hanju was still far from attaining the Tao, but he was much stronger than before. On this day, he explained the great Tao to the hidden sect again. After so many lectures, without the hidden sect expanding, all the disciples had already embarked on the cultivation path of the great Tao of extreme origin. The great Tao of extreme origin contained extremely great power. Even Li Daokong, who was already a pseudo-sage, could easily enter the Tao. After so many years of cultivation, his Tao fruit had already transformed into the Tao fruit of the great Tao of extreme origin. The disciple Hanju looked forward to the most now was Li Daokong. His expectations for him had already surpassed Tao Sovereign, Li Yao, Zhao Xinyuan, and the others. Of course, he could only hide this thought in his heart and not say it out loud. After all, he thought highly of every disciple. Hanju was about to return to the Taoist temple when he suddenly felt something. He raised his hand and waved it, summoning the strange deity from outside the Tao field. After so many years, the strange deity had indeed become much stronger. F. Liu Lo New Hapters at NOV, E. Elbin, Calm Hanju could sense that the power it contained was enough to destroy an ordinary pseudo-sage. What had this fellow done? The strange deity was clearly very excited to see Hanju again. It stuck to him and rubbed against him. Hanju played with it for a while and let it move around. The current strange deity could already control his strength and would not threaten the other living beings in the hidden sect. Just as he returned to the Taoist temple, Hanju received a dream from a sage. Sect Master Tianju sent you a dream. Do you accept it? Ignore! I want to see if you're as anxious as Emperor Shao and Qiushilai. Hanju thought to himself and meditated. Indeed, not all sages were as shameless as Qiushilai. Sect Master Tianju only visited once in his dreams. Several months later, Fang Yang sent you a dream. Do you accept it? Fang Yang? Hanju opened his eyes with a strange expression. In the past, it was always sages who visited him in his dreams. When did Fang Yang learn this ability? After thinking about it, Hanju chose to accept it. After entering the dream, Hanju could clearly sense the structure of the dream. It was extremely weak, and he could shatter the dream with a thought. Fang Yang was still very weak. The dream place was the Numinous Palace. Feng Liang saw Hanju and immediately walked over to bow. The sun and moon yin-yang protection behind Hanju emitted a divine light, preventing Feng Liang from seeing his expression. Feng Liang said, I rashly disturbed Grandmaster because of something important. Hanju replied, Bao? Ji Xianshan has been suppressed. The heavenly race has secretly changed to a new master. More than 1,000 years ago, the heavenly race once sent the earth god to the 100-peak immortal river. In the end, he was humiliated. Recently, the heavenly race has been preparing to deal with the 100-peak immortal river. Ji Xianshan asked me to tell you about this. That's it? Hanju was disdainful. He already treated sages as his enemies. Who dared to find trouble with him? It wasn't that Hanju was arrogant, but that he was so strong. Feng Liang said, Grandmaster, don't be careless. The heavenly race is mixed with all sorts of people and involves too many factions. Not only that, but recently, someone from the human race has also been stirring up rumors about the hidden sect. They say that the hidden sect once harmed the human race and seem to want to defame the hidden sect as the devil race. Hanju shook his head and said, You don't have to worry about the hidden sect. You've been away for too long and don't know the situation anymore. Upon hearing that, Feng Liang asked carefully, May I know how many deity realm experts the hidden sect has? The current Feng Liang was already a deity realm existence. If not for the heavenly court's defeat in the calamity, his cultivation would not have increased. Hanju hesitated for a moment and then said, More than you think. After all, Feng Liang came from the hidden sect and had helped the hidden sect disciples in the heavenly court many times. Hanju still hoped that he could repent and return to the sect to cultivate. Although Feng Liang was already the Tao ancestor's successor, Zhou Fan was still a Dharma idol of the seven Tao sage. Hanju wasn't afraid of people with powerful backgrounds entering the hidden sect. It was fine as long as it was not the true body of a sage. Feng Liang was silent. He clenched his fists in his sleeves. He wanted to say that he would return to the hidden sect, but the words were stuck in his throat and difficult to say. Hanju didn't understand what he was worried about and said meaningfully, As long as you want to return, come back at any time. You don't have to worry about any trouble. Don't wait until you're standing opposite the hidden sect before you want to return. At that time, don't blame Grandmaster for being heartless. Feng Liang took a deep breath. He knew that Hanju was not joking. Hanju treated him very well, but he was never merciful to enemies. Back in the mortal world, Hanju, who was only a mortal, dared to challenge the heavenly court. The current Hanju was naturally not afraid of sages. Feng Liang was in a dilemma. Hanju waved his hand and shattered the dream, leaving only one sentence, If you don't return now, no one in the hidden sect will remember you. His consciousness returned to the Taoist temple. Hanju didn't think too much and continued cultivating. It was his decision whether Feng Liang would return. Hanju had already done what he could. He couldn't force Feng Liang to return. In that case, would he be the Grandmaster or an actual father? On that day, Li Xianao came to visit him. Hanju let him enter the Taoist temple. Li Xianao came in front of him and bowed. Sect Master, I want to take in a disciple. It's one of the 4 chaotic monkeys, the long-arm ape. He's talented, and I'm confident that I can teach him to become a zenith heaven or even stronger. By the way, Sect Master, there might be an entire race of long-arm apes. I have a bold thought. Long-arm ape? Hanju raised his eyebrows. He couldn't help but think of Journey to the West. This monkey was not only in the Journey to the West but also in the Investiture of the Gods. There were indeed many legends about the 4 chaotic monkeys. Hanju wouldn't question their potential, but he didn't expect them to have a race. Hanju narrowed his eyes and asked, What do you think? Li Xianao adjusted his emotions and said, There's not much point in directly taking in the long-arm ape race into the hidden sect. We need to have hidden forces outside. This is the case for the human school. Almost all the major races have their own subsidiary forces. On the surface, only me and senior brother will appear. With the immeasurable calamity activated, even if senior brother and I enter the calamity, all living beings will not think that the human school can threaten the heavenly Tao. However, the truth is that the human school has the most cultivators in the heavenly race. Among the sages, the human school is the greatest winner. Hanju understood what he meant. He felt that there was no need, but if the disciples wanted to find something to do, it was fine. He thought for a moment and said, choose a long-arm ape to enter the hidden sect. You can persuade him later. Li Xian'eo was overjoyed. He hurriedly bowed and left. Hanju wasn't worried that he would play tricks. After all, it was a 6-star favorability. Besides, he was already a cultivator of the great Tao of extreme origin and was tied to him. 74 years later, in the Taoist temple, Hanju was cultivating. I'm the war god of the heavenly race, the heavenly god general. I summon all living beings in the immortal world and recruit immortals and gods for the heavenly race. I will open up the myriad worlds in the universe. Anyone who has reached the grand unity golden immortal realm can come to the 13th heaven to see me and seek godhood. This voice resounded through the immortal world like a thunderclap. Hanju opened his eyes with a strange expression. The heavenly race was recruiting immortal gods. They were trying to eradicate the heavenly court. From now on, all living beings would think that the heavenly race represented the immortal gods. What was the use of the heavenly court? When the immortals of the heavenly court decreased and only Feng Liang was left alone, it would probably be the time of his death. Hanju couldn't help but think of the heavenly emperor. The heavenly emperor had entrusted him to help when the heavenly court was in danger. However, this was not the most difficult time for the heavenly court. Hanju didn't dare to act recklessly before attaining the Tao. F. Liu Lo new hapters at NOV, E, Elbin, calm, you guys can continue dancing. When I become a sage, I'll settle all the scores. Hanju snorted. The heavenly race also wanted to scheme against him, and now they were plotting against the heavenly court. He had to deal with them in the future. Hanju suddenly thought of his first Tao companion, Xian Qingjun, who was also in the heavenly race. On a whim, he used the dark nightmare on her. The two of them entered the dream. The mountains were clear and the rivers were beautiful. The blue sky was filled with white clouds. A cool breeze blew through the forest, making one's heart flutter. Hanju saw Xian Qingjun again. Compared to 20,000 years ago, she had changed greatly. She wore a purple dress and had a dignified posture. Her beautiful face was extremely cold and her eyes were disdainful. The first time they met, she was still pretending to be mediocre. Xian Qingjun saw Hanju and couldn't help but become vigilant. The divine light of the sun and moon yin-yang protection covered Hanju's face, preventing her from seeing clearly. She was cultivating when she was suddenly pulled into a dream, making her subconsciously vigilant. Soon, she seemed to have thought of something and asked carefully, Hanju? Hanju smiled and said, how have you been? The last time they met was in a dream, 10,000 years ago. At this age, he couldn't help but sigh when he saw an old friend. It was mainly because Hanju had not seen many people in his life. If one died, it was a significant decrease. Xian Qingjun smiled and sized him up. I'm good. You look better. You should be the one who created the hidden sect, right? Hanju was not surprised. He could no longer hide his identity, especially to those who knew him. That's right. How are you doing in the heavenly race? Hanju asked. He remembered that she had given him cultivation resources before. Xian Qingjun said, I managed to get a god position, but I'm only fishing in troubled waters. I don't have any real power. By the way, the heavenly race might be targeting the 100-peak immortal river recently. Be careful. Hanju said, I already know. I haven't come to visit you for a long time. If you're unhappy in the heavenly race, you can come and seek refuge with me at any time. As for the heavenly race's plot, even a pseudo-sage can't barge in. It's impossible for the heavenly race to succeed. Xian Qingjun smiled. Sure, I'm willing to join the hidden sect. So straightforward? Hanju was stunned. Xian Qingjun said, I like the atmosphere of the hidden sect. I didn't agree before because I wanted to fight for Providence. Now that the Providence has been obtained, if you let me enter the hidden sect, I'll naturally do it. However, before I come, I want to obtain something for you. What is it? You will know when the time comes. It will definitely be a surprise. All right. Hanju smiled and agreed. What? Could she possibly bring the primordial purple chi to seek refuge with him? Hanju started to reminisce with Xian Qingjun and listened to her talk about her experiences over the years. Xian Qingjun said that because of Hanju, she also liked to cultivate diligently. After the calamity ended, she rarely went out. However, the few times she went out were very exciting. They could all be written as adventures. Hanju also listened with relish. The two of them chatted for a long time. The dream ended. Hanju's consciousness returned to reality. From his conversation with Xian Qingjun, he could tell that she was very dissatisfied with the heavenly race. She wasn't the only one. There were also many conflicts within the heavenly race. The main reason was that the heavenly race was too chaotic and had too much internal competition. With that, the emperor took turns to sit. Ji Xianshan had already completely become a puppet. Power often changed, making the loose immortals of the heavenly race feel that something was wrong. If this continued, the heavenly race would definitely collapse. It was normal for Xian Qingjun to want to leave. Hanju thought silently, should I make the heavenly race fight among themselves? Xian Qingjun had mentioned that the person in charge recently was a person called Zhou Quan. His background was mysterious, and she did not know which sect he came from. He had a wide network. F***CK. Hanju decided to curse Zhou Quan and stir up a conflict among the heavenly race to prevent them from always staring at the 100-peak immortal river. But he couldn't curse now. Wait! 50 years later. Hanju had just finished cursing Sage Fated Secrets and started cursing the heavenly race's Zhou Quan. He was very careful, afraid that he would accidentally curse Zhou Quan to death. He only cursed for a day before stopping. He felt that it was enough. Zhou Quan would definitely be frightened to death. Hanju was in a good mood. He put down the Book of Misfortune and continued cultivating. Just as he had expected, the heavenly race was in chaos. Through the emails, Hanju saw the Divine General and Ji Xianshan being attacked one after another. It was really tragic. Half a month later, Li Xianao came and said that the long-arm ape he had chosen was already waiting outside the 100-peak immortal river. Hanju directly moved him into the Dao field and let Li Xianao entertain him himself. As for meeting the long-arm ape, Hanju didn't have any thoughts for the time being. His cultivation was different now, and his identity was also different. How could he meet anyone casually? On the mountains and rivers, Li Xianao and the long-arm ape stepped on the white clouds as they advanced. The long-arm ape was a human-shaped monkey with a burly figure. It scratched its ears and cheeks and kept looking around, full of curiosity about the 100-peak immortal river. Li Xianao instructed, in the 100-peak immortal river, don't cause conflict with anyone. Otherwise, I won't be able to protect you. The long-arm ape asked curiously, how many immortals in the 100-peak immortal river are stronger than you? Li Xianao instructed. The 4 chaotic monkeys were known to be ruthless. The long-arm ape was the overlord of a mountain before. It was domineering. Li Xianao was worried that it couldn't control its personality. Hearing this, the long-arm ape nodded desperately. He wasn't stupid. Before he knew Li Xianao, he had heard of the 100-peak immortal river. He was already very happy to be able to join the hidden sect. Just like that, Li Xianao accepted the long-arm ape as his disciple. He brought it around the 100-peak immortal river and let the hidden sect disciples meet it. The disciples of the hidden sect did not have a good impression of the long-arm ape. It was only because this fellow was not good looking and they were busy cultivating and had no time to interact. The addition of the long-arm ape did not affect the cultivation culture of the hidden sect. The 100-peak immortal river was still silent. Time flew. 400 years passed. Hanju cursed Zhou Quan for another day. Liu Bei suddenly brought a Qilin to visit. It was Su Lin, who had the bloodline of the Qilin. King! Su Lin had already reached the Grand Unity Golden Immortal Realm. The man and the Qilin knelt in front of Hanju. Su Lin had yet to transform. His figure was like a tiger and was slightly smaller than before. He was probably controlling his body size. Hanju stared at him. That gaze brought great pressure to Su Lin, making him not dare to look up. Liu Bei was the first to speak. Master, what do you plan to do next? Hanju said, you can leave first. I'll teach him for a period of time. Liu Bei nodded and left. Su Lin shivered, not knowing what to think. Hanju said, don't be nervous. Cultivate next to me. Cultivate according to the previous cultivation method. This is not a test. He raised his hand and waved, causing a mat to appear beside him. Immediately after, Hanju raised his finger and pointed at Su Lin, directly turning him into a human. Su Lin transformed into a young man with an ordinary appearance, an ordinary figure, and a stunned expression. Seeing Hanju close his eyes, although he was puzzled, he could only suppress it and enter his cultivation state. At first, Su Lin was very nervous, but as time passed, his nervousness was also wiped away. 100 years passed. Su Lin walked out of the Taoist temple. The sunlight shone on him, making him feel as if a lifetime had passed. He took a deep breath and clenched his fists. His eyes became extremely confident and his back straightened, as expected of the master of the hidden sect. This is the Great Tao? Su Lin was excited. He quickened his pace and prepared to return to cultivate diligently. Not long after he left, Li Xian'eo came to the Taoist temple and wanted to visit Hanju. What is it? Hanju didn't let him in and asked directly. Li Xian'eo said, Sect Master, Long-Arm Ape. You're in charge of teaching and can also teach the Great Tao yourself. Hanju's voice floated out, causing Li Xian'eo to be overjoyed. He wanted to teach the Great Tao to the Long-Arm Ape, thinking that he had to seek Hanju's approval first. Li Xian'eo bowed and left. Hanju covered the Tao field with his divine sense and observed the Nether Race. The Nether Race was the threshold of the hidden sect. Their potential was high, but they were not top-notch. Now, the 10,000 Nether Race members had already begun to break through to the deity realm. When they stepped into the deity realm, the strength of the hidden sect would increase again. Hanju couldn't help but look at the second-generation disciples. He called Sun Chang'an over. As his third disciple, Sun Chang'an's cultivation was inferior to that of a third-generation disciple. However, under the powerful torrent of the hidden sect, he could barely keep up with the main group. However, he was only a rank 4 immortal emperor now. How pathetic. Sun Chang'an knelt in front of Hanju. He wasn't nervous when facing him. After all, they had been together for more than 20,000 years. Hanju asked, Are you satisfied with your cultivation? Sun Chang'an frowned and hesitated for a moment before saying, If I say that I'm satisfied, actually, I'm not that satisfied. But I'm not that unsatisfied, either. Hanju cursed silently. What ugly words from an ugly monk. Although Sun Chang'an was no longer ugly or even rather handsome, his nickname was still Ugly Monk. Hanju cursed. Speak normally. Sun Chang'an shivered and said, It means that I can become stronger. It doesn't matter if I can't. In any case, I've always been in the hidden sect. Even if I don't have any enemies, I still have your protection. Then, don't you want to protect me? Master, you're so strong. How can I chase after you? Even if you let Li Daokong say this, can he be confident? Sun Chang'an was very innocent and aggrieved. Hanju remained silent. That made sense. Hanju didn't want the day to really need his disciples' protection. But he wouldn't allow his disciples to slack off. I will personally preach the Tao to you. In 5,000 years, you must reach the rank 9 immortal emperor realm. Hanju snorted. Sun Chang'an's expression collapsed. Crossing that many realms in 5,000 years? Impossible! He had already stepped into the emperor realm for more than 10,000 years and was only a rank 4 immortal emperor. Hanju ignored Sun Chang'an and started to preach. In the forest, a stone tower stood. In the tower, the 3 immortals of Chujun were napping in boredom. Snakehead Immortal said weakly, "Brother, how long do we have to wait? Those who came after the long-arm ape have already entered the hidden sect. How long do we have to wait?" F. Lianglo new hapters at NOV, E, Elbin, calm he repeated it twice, clearly confused. Eaglehead Immortal snorted. "Continue waiting. Those with ambitions will succeed. This is what a mighty figure who taught me said." The third great immortal did not speak. At this moment, a voice sounded, "Are you the 3 immortals of Chujun?" The 3 immortals immediately sat up and saw the earth god who had confronted Hanzue Tian. He held his head high and said proudly, "I'm the envoy sent by the heavenly race to confer the title of earth god to you 3. Aren't you going to kneel down and receive the title?" The 3 immortals were stunned, and they looked at each other. Eaglehead Immortal was the first to recover. He cursed. "Get lost." The other 2 immortals also revealed fierce expressions. The earth god was stunned. "Can't I give you the 100-peak immortal river? Are you worried about the hidden sect? Don't worry, the heavenly race will soon move it away." At that time, Eaglehead Immortal attacked directly. His right hand transformed into an eagle claw and quickly stretched out, shooting straight at the earth god's throat. The earth god was shocked and immediately fled. In an instant, he arrived thousands of kilometers away. Then, he emerged from the ground and cursed. "3 fools! I gave you a chance, but you're useless." At this moment, a demonic wind blew. "Where are you running to? Killing him will definitely be a contribution to the 100-peak immortal river. Ha ha, this is a rare opportunity." The 3 immortals' voices floated over. They were very excited. Earth God vomited blood. He didn't understand why these 3 dogs were so loyal to the hidden sect when they were not accepted by the 100-peak immortal river. Not having time to think, he continued to escape. "I'm the Earth God. Can the 3 of you capture me?" Deep underground, the Earth God thought disdainfully as he traveled quickly. Several days later, the 3 immortals appeared near the 100-peak immortal river. Eaglehead Immortal waved his sleeve, and the Earth God tied up by the golden rope was thrown to the ground. He was covered in dust and had disheveled hair, looking extremely pathetic. Eaglehead Immortal shouted, "Seniors of the hidden sect, we have caught a spy sent by the heavenly race. He wants to harm the hidden sect." The white-robed man said impatiently, "This fellow? He can threaten the hidden sect?" If not for the fact that the 3 immortals were sincere, the white-robed man wouldn't have bothered to come out. Eaglehead Immortal said shamelessly, "He's the god of the heavenly race and wants to confer us the title of Earth God. He said that in the future, the heavenly race will expel the hidden sect and let us be Earth gods." The Earth God wanted to say something, but he couldn't make a sound. The white-robed man frowned. "Wait for me." He turned around and left. Soon, Hanzue Tian and Li Xianao arrived. Li Xianao sized up the Earth God and said, "It's indeed the god of the heavenly race." He didn't know the Earth God, but he was also from the heavenly race and could distinguish auras and Providence. Hanzue Tian looked at the 3 immortals and said, "I know you. You're indeed sincere. Don't worry, I will mention you to Grandmaster." Hearing this, the 3 immortals were pleasantly surprised and quickly thanked him. Hanzue Tian looked at Li Xianao and asked, "What should we do with this Earth God?" F. Lianglo new hapters at NOV, E, Elbin, calmly Xianao said calmly, "Kill him." The three of you, attack now. The Earth God's expression changed drastically. Without another word, Eagle Head Immortal slapped his palm on the top of the Earth God's head, sucking his soul out. Snake Head Immortal swallowed the Earth God's body. Eagle Head Immortal threw the Earth God's soul to his third brother, the Heavenly Immortal. The Heavenly Immortal's eyes emitted a strange light that extinguished the Earth God's soul. Li Xian'eo raised his eyebrows in surprise. Unexpectedly, the three immortals had their own abilities. The reason why he asked them to kill the Earth God now was to test them. Their decisiveness proved that they were indeed on the hidden sect's side. Li Xian'eo smiled in satisfaction. You have great vision. Wait for a bit. The three immortals quickly thanked him. Li Xian'eo and Han Zuetian left. In the sky, Li Xian'eo said, these three are not bad. If you can take them in, take care of them in the future. They will become your right-hand men. Han Zuetian nodded. That day, Li Xian'eo went to visit Hanju and talked about this. Hanju thought for a moment and moved the three immortals into the Dao field, letting Li Xian'eo receive them. After Li Xian'eo left, Hanju's expression became strange. Why did this fellow become a talent in internal affairs? He had always thought that Li Xian'eo was a brute. He didn't expect that after joining the hidden sect, he would be more passionate about all sorts of planning and decision-making. Hanju shook his head and laughed. In any case, Li Xian'eo's favorability towards him was 6 stars. He didn't have to worry. Once his favorability decreased, even if only by half a star, Hanju would still give him a warning. There was no hour measuring in the immortal world. Other than a few people, all living beings wouldn't calculate time. The world was vast and filled with spirit chi. As long as one didn't provoke the enemy, one could live for a long time. Under such circumstances, time became unimportant. Hanju was one of the few people who liked to pay attention to time. After all, he had the system and had already developed the habit of looking at lifespan. As years passed, the situation in the immortal world gradually changed. This was the first time the number of connate life forms erupted. After their cultivation levels increased, they began to consider reproducing. Now, in the immortal world, there were the 7 famous major factions: Jia School, Tron School, Human School, Buddhist Sect, Heavenly Race, Ancient Race, and Hidden Sect. Although ancient fiendish Yin had perished, the ancient race had indeed survived tenaciously and even became stronger. This was because they were the first force formed by connate life forms. Most living beings acknowledged the ancient race as their race. Just like that, 1,200 years passed. That day, Hanju was cultivating. Detected that the primordial purple chi has descended into the immortal world. You have the following choices. 1. Exit seclusion immediately and fight for the primordial purple chi. You can obtain a great Dao fragment and a mystical power inheritance. 2. Continue cultivating and stay away from trouble. You can obtain a great Dao fragment and a supreme treasure. Primordial purple chi? Hanju was stunned. Didn't Yua say that she would keep it for him? Could it be another primordial purple chi? Hanju silently chose the second option. You choose to continue cultivating and obtain a great Dao fragment and a supreme treasure. Congratulations on obtaining the Heavenly Dao Numinous Treasure Heavenly Origin Bracelet. Heavenly Origin Bracelet. Heavenly Dao Numinous Treasure. It is extremely hard and can hit the soul. It can encircle a world. Heavenly Dao Numinous Treasure was not bad. Hanju silently took out the Heavenly Origin Bracelet and started to make it recognize him as its owner. As for Dharma treasures, the more the better, even if they were useless now. For example, in the investiture of the gods, the 3 pure ones would often give their disciples Dharma treasures and let them fight. It was quite impressive. However, Hanju would never hand over his strongest Dharma treasures. Only those that he did not like could be given to his disciples. Several days later, the Dharma treasure successfully recognized him as its owner. Hanju directly put it on his right wrist. He continued cultivating and checked his emails. Your good friend Ji Xianshan has obtained a pseudo-sage divine arm. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Pen Xin was attacked by a human school cultivator, X392. Your Dao companion Xian Qingjun has obtained the primordial purple qi. Her providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Empress Hutu established the netherworld. Your good friend Jiang Dugu was attacked by the ancient master of calamity and was severely injured. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor has become a pseudo-sage. Your disciple Yang Tiandong has become the king of hell. This did not seem to be the first time Ji Xianshan had fused with limbs. What was he doing? From the looks of it, he seemed to be turning into a heavenly Dao villain. Hanju was stunned when he saw Shen Qingjun obtain the primordial purple qi. So it was because of her that the primordial purple qi descended into the immortal world. How did she do it? The heavenly emperor had actually become a pseudo-sage. Hanju only sighed and was not shocked. Ever since he went to the deity realm of the ruins of End, the heavenly emperor had endless opportunities. He was a zenith heaven cultivator himself, so it was not strange for him to become a pseudo-sage. Yang Tiandong became the king of hell. Empress Hutu was rather impressive. She really knew how to act in order to tie Hanju to her. On the surface, Empress Hutu was expressing her goodwill to Hanju, so he couldn't say anything. Young Tiandong died in the previous calamity and was protected by Qiushilai. His soul had always been in the netherworld, but he did not expect Empress Hutu to support him to become the king of hell. Speaking of his eldest disciple, Hanju sighed. What a pity! Hanju shook his head and laughed. He believed that one day, Empress Hutu would make Yang Tiandong find him. At that time, he would directly purify him. Thinking of absolute purification, Hanju stood up and prepared to purify all the new disciples of the hidden sect, just in case. Even Li Daokong and Li Xianao had to be purified. Just like that, Hanju wandered around the 100-peak immortal river, causing a commotion in the entire sect. The disciples wanted to see him but were afraid of meeting him. Hanju used small talk to purify them secretly one by one. The lifespan consumed was not worth mentioning. It wasn't enough to make a sage go mad. 60 years later, all the disciples had seen Hanju before. Not only did their reverence for him not decrease, but it also increased. Hanju's aura was too strong. In addition to the sun and moon yin-yang protection, even if they had chatted, they didn't know his true appearance. Mysterious. Powerful. This was Hanju's image in the hearts of the unnamed disciples. 1. Exit seclusion immediately and preach the Tao to the heavens. You can obtain a great Tao fragment, a heavenly Tao spirit stone, and a great Tao purple qi. 2. Cultivate in a low-profile manner and maintain your original intention. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a great Tao purple qi. This was a choice that Hanju had triggered when he purified the hidden sect disciples. He didn't have a choice before. He only returned to the Taoist temple and chose again after purifying all the disciples. Now, he was 30,044 years old. The reason why he did not immediately make a choice was that the heavenly Tao spirit stone was too attractive. The Book of Misfortune would be a heavenly Tao supreme treasure if it leveled up again. Even if he went out now, as long as he did not leave the area of the heavenly Tao, sages wouldn't be able to do anything to him. However, after calming down, Hanju felt that there was no need. The immortal world was not a Tao field, after all. What if the sages had other methods? Hanju adjusted his state of mind and chose the second option. You chose to cultivate in a low-profile manner and obtained a great Tao fragment and a great Tao purple qi. Read Lat St chapters at No, V, E, L, Bin Com only. Great Tao purple qi. After fusing, you can obtain the right to become a great Tao sage. Great Tao sage? Hanju smiled. This was exactly what he had guessed. The primordial purple qi could allow one to become a heavenly Tao sage, while the great Tao purple qi could allow one to become a great Tao sage. However, it was only a qualification, not absolute. Hanju took out the great Tao purple chi. It was gray and looked like a ball of smoke. He couldn't see any effect. He didn't need to fuse with it, for the time being, so he placed it into the world of stars. He would use it in the future. Hanju could become a sage himself now and didn't need the great Tao purple chi for the time being. Hanju continued cultivating and worked hard to attain the Tao. He was already at the perfected pseudo-sage realm, but he was still far from attaining the Tao. He needed to cultivate diligently. The process of fusing with the great Tao was too complicated. Even if he was talented, he had to take it slowly. Hanju was already the first person in history to reach the perfected pseudo-sage realm at 30,000 years old. In the distant past, when the world had just been created, it had taken the Tao ancestor billions of years to reach the zenith heaven realm. That was only a legend. Perhaps it had taken longer. 90 years later. Xianqing